Oscar-winning director Michael Moore is no fan of Donald Trump, but he saw his election victory coming a mile away. Michael Moore joins me now. Is that fair to say that you're a fan of Donald Trump?
That would be correct, although I did like The Early Apprentice. If that's okay, can I say
Before
that?
it became Celebrity Apprentice?
Yeah. Well, actually, yes, but that was a wise move he made because people like him watching him fire the rich and famous as opposed to Joe Schmo.
So let's talk about, it's been a month, almost 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it going the way you thought it would go?
Well, it's on both levels. It's definitely going the way I thought what he would be doing. Because, again, remember, I was one of the people that believed that whatever he was saying was true.
Right.
That I think when people say he lies, it's a different kind of lying. It's not like he's sitting around, when he says that he believes he could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it, he's proven that over and over again, that he could call John McCain a coward, that he could go after a Gold Star family, that he could, the stuff with Billy Bush. Everybody kept thinking, oh, that's the end of him. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking, no, he's going to be himself. He's going to be very honest. He's going to say what he feels. And actually, people are going to like that because he's not going to sound like a politician.
Yeah, but people said, I don't believe he's going to. I don't believe he means that. He doesn't mean that. But then they believe the things they wanted.
Yeah, but when he says that he's going to dismantle the EPA and the Department of Education, he's actually going to and has put in people whose job, as Steve Bannon said today, is to, the word he used today was deconstruct, which is a nice way of saying demolition. That's what they're there for. Now Rick Perry is up for a vote probably sometime this week or next week to be in charge of our nuclear arsenal. I mean, a man who is, and I mean this with all due respect, the village idiot. And in another time and place, he would probably admit that because he's a goofball who didn't even know there was a Department of Energy.
How can that be respectful?
And, well, because there are nights you could call me that, and I would say, you're probably.
I wonder, maybe I have the term wrong, cognitive dissonance, because when people say, well, I don't think he meant the thing that that people see as racist. I don't think he meant that he's going to grab women by the genitals or all of those other things. But then they say, but I do think he's going to build a wall. Where's?
No, he's going to do everything he said he's going to do. And now Chavez and they were appealing to Sessions. They're going to go after the Hillary server thing starting next week again. Yeah, because when that whole lock her up thing, they weren't done with that, and they're not done with anything they said they were going to do. And anybody who's still in their bubble thinking that it's no, it won't be that bad. Trust me, it will be as bad as that and worse.
Do you think they need a distraction? Is that why they're doing it, or they just want to?
No, they're just doing it because they're honest.
Yeah.
They honestly want to get rid of the Department of Education. They honestly want to remove environmental regulations.
I meant the server and that whole thing.
Do they? Yes. Do they honestly want to go after them? And of course they do. Yeah. The Clintons are the evil enemy to them. But on the other level, you asked me, how's it going? On our end, on my end, with the resistance, the movement, what's going on out there at the town hall meetings, all the activism, the Women's March, all of this stuff is so powerful and so exhilarating to see so many people who have never gotten involved politically in their lives are now out there at these meetings, in the streets, calling their members of Congress.
I wonder how Democrats feel about that. And I also wonder, do you say, or do Democrats say, where were these people in November? Or
no,
do you think
they
these people
voted.
were there in November?
I think those people, I think they voted. But you have nearly half the country that doesn't vote. Mm-hmm. That's the largest political party in America, the non-voter party, and then the other half is kind of a usually 52-48 split one way or the other. Mm-hmm. And what you've got coming up this Saturday with the DNC, you had a debate on here last night, is that the Democrats have a real chance to change things. And I know that there's 400 members plus on the DNC. If any of them are watching right now, you've got to do the right thing here. You've got to, with the old guard, God bless them, they've got to go, and we need fresh blood in there. We need new people. We need Keith Ellison as the DNC chair to just put in what the old guard wants again. What's the message to young people? What's the message to people?
Do you see Keith Ellison as new blood?
Yes, well, for the Democratic Party, this guy is. We need somebody. He's from the Midwest, grew up in Detroit, went to Wayne State University, Detroit, then went to Minnesota, became a congressman. But before he was a congressman in Minnesota, he helped turn Minnesota from what was then a red state into a blue state. He did organizing, political neighborhood organizing in the state of Minnesota to help make that happen. We need an organizer who's going to bring people out and turn this party around to do what it needs to do to bring people back.
I was going to ask you because you saw Steve Bannon and Reince Priebus today, and they said that the conservatives and the party led by President Trump cannot be stopped. Is essentially what they said. And so you think
oh, they're going to be stopped. They are being stopped.
You think so?
Yes. Even John Boehner said today they're not going to repeal Obamacare in the way that they want to repeal it and replace it. That's just not going to happen. And I'm thinking, wow, that's pretty powerful considering our side, holds zero power of any branch of government.
But that's the interesting thing to me when it comes to the Affordable Care Act, by the way, which is Obamacare, which a lot of people didn't know. They said that they didn't like Obamacare, but they like the Affordable Care Act. It's the exact same thing, which is interesting. But I'm wondering...
Don't make fun of that.
As I said,
all right.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I found it was interesting, and that means that maybe the Democrats, their messaging... to explain exactly what the Affordable Care Act was, maybe it wasn't sufficient. And that's why people had no idea.
Or the Democrats should have pushed for single-payer, true universal health care like every other civilized country has. And then the problems that some people have been having with Obamacare, they wouldn't have them because we wouldn't have this crazy system.
On the other side, then,
profit-making.
Why for 6 years, Republicans said we're going to repeal and replace, and then when it came time, where was it? Where is it? And even Republicans are saying, what did you do for 6 years?
Yeah, they held 50 votes because they're performance artists. I mean, that's basically what they would do. They'd show up, have a vote. They were never serious about it, and they didn't even expect to win this election, so they don't know what they're doing, and they don't have a plan. And Bannon and Priebus today. That's an amazing show. If you haven't seen it, it was during the day, so if you can go online and watch this thing, they're very clear about their agenda. They are nationalists. He said they believe in economic nationalism. They believe in the deconstruction of our government, which is essentially saying they believe in anarchy. They want to demolish and deconstruct the government because they consider the government the enemy. And when you consider the government the enemy, you also then, if you're in that headset, right? If you're in that mind frame, you don't then think there's anything wrong with talking to Russian intelligence officials for a year before the election.
I just don't think that most Americans feel that America's future, that the country's that dark and it's that terrible. We have our problems, we have our issues. Maybe, some people are not feeling the economy right now. But I don't think it's as negative as some of the people I've heard up on that stage today, particularly Steve Bannon's vision of America. I just don't think so.
Well, I'll come back in 6 months,
right,
and we'll play the tape of you just saying that.
Yeah, and we'll see. Yeah.
No, and you won't feel bad of being wrong about what you said.
I just felt maybe I'm just a glass half full person.
You are an optimistic soul, and God bless you for it. We need people like you. We also need people like me. Yeah. Sometimes it is 1933. And you need one or two people saying, boy, this just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. So listen, you have a website. This is an anti-President Trump website that you've launched for protesters. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I have my own Facebook and Twitter where each day I just posted this thing, the 10 ways that we can help make Trump toast. And the things, specific things that people can do every day, every week at home, where you can be part of this movement. But I also have helped set up this resistance calendar, where you could go type your city or state right on this block on the site, and it will tell you tomorrow's events that are happening in your area to resist Trump, to fight for the things that we want to fight for, to go to a town hall meeting. It's all there at resistancecalendar.org. And yeah, I've just been helping different groups set these things up to do my part as a citizen and to I do think, Don, I just hated hearing you say that just then. We are in really tough shape here, and it's yes, things are okay for a lot of people.
I didn't say things weren't bad.
No,
I just think that
America
is the greatest country on earth, and
if
anyone can turn it around, I think we can.
That I believe. Because I believe that the majority of Americans are good people, have a good heart, they know right from wrong, and they will stop this. And they know, just as a closing comment here, they know that if you or I had spent the last year talking to Russian intelligence officials, there'd be a knock on our door.
Yeah.
because I think we put an Israeli Israel's an ally. We put an Israeli who was dealing with spying on us. Put him in prison. Remember that? Right. Just got out a couple of years ago. I mean, we do this to our allies. We have a Trump campaign that for a year, as you have courageously reported, and now we find out tonight through this network that they went to the FBI to try and get them to not let this happen, not let this word get out, not inform the American people. That's an obstruction of justice. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I just think this sounds very Nixon-like, and I can't believe he can get away with it, and I can't believe anybody can.
When I spoke to the experts on my panel, I'm not sure who's a lawyer on the panel I spoke to earlier, but they said they didn't believe any laws were broken. They just believe that it's protocols and that rules that you just don't do. Listen, I'm just saying. All I'm saying is,
we'll play that
as you are and as everyone, as most people out there, I'm very proud to be an American.
Yes.
And
right.
I don't think that there's a country to take back. I just think that we live in the country that we're in, and wherever that country is.
No, I didn't say no. There's not a country to take back.
But people are saying, Steve Bannon said, you got to fight to take your country back. There's no time. This is everybody's country.
We already have. Listen, let me say this to Trump supporters who are watching. We are all in the same boat. Exactly. We are all Americans, and we are going to sink or swim together. So I believe very strongly in that, and I'm willing to listen. I just was talking to your next guest, the Trump supporter back there, and we had a good conversation, and we can have this conversation. We can have the dialogue, but fight for the things you believe in. Yeah. And let the people decide. The people actually did decide by 3 million votes, but again, we have a different law to take care of the popular vote.
I gotta run, but it's always a pleasure.
Thank you for having me on. And
maybe we should play the Star Spangled Banner.
or we could just call this part 2 of tonight's history of comedy.
By the way, you're looking awfully svelte.
Oh no, I'm not there yet.
10 pounds.
But we were talking during the break, and he was asking me for diet tips.
Michael Moore.
All right.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, Don Lemon.
We'll be right back.
All right.